And there'll be more rugby league back same time next week. To the SANFL now and round 18. Today, the match between top dog Central District and 5th place South Adelaide. The Bulldogs have won their last 4 games, while South Adelaide have won 5 of their last 7 and are looking to consolidate a place in the top 5. At the Adelaide Oval, it's a very good afternoon to Neville Roberts.
Thanks, Karen, and welcome to the one of the premier stadiums in the world. The Adelaide Oval doesn't get used anywhere near enough. Our main game today, Central and South Adelaide. It's a beauty here too. Later we'll go to Prospect. David Mackay and Stephen Trigg are covering the North Glenelg fight out just down the road from us here. Let's have a look at the premiership table after round 17. The Dogs lead the way. They're 1 game clear, courtesy of the draw they had with West Adelaide in round 1. Nord, it'll be a real fight out today if Central lose this one for top spot next week at the parade. That'll be a beauty as well. Glenelg, as I said, fighting away just down the road there to stay in touch with the League 5 Sturt on the bottom. Let's have a look at the scoreboard from Adelaide Oval. The game that Michael Ace, myself and Graham Campbell, special guest today, joins us. 26 place 20, so a 6-point advantage at the end of the first quarter, and Central kicked away a little bit in that second quarter, but the scoreboard doesn't really reflect it. South's playing a lot better, just not converting. Wakeland's been an absolute star. He's kicked 5, and Cameron, the only real performer in front of goal. Delray's been up and around there, but playing too much from behind. Let's have a look at some of the highlights from the first half here at Adelaide Oval.
Goes long. On the lead was Conway's in front, over the top! Wakeland!
So what's the mark of the day? That is no question the mark of the day. Look at that.
Well done, Healy. Straight to number 6.
Well,
Cook. And Cook puts it straight down the throat of Wakeland. He'll play on. Handball's over the top. Number 2.
I like that. I like the way the guy shared the ball.
That's well done. Stevens wraps it up. Loose ball. Barada. Trent Mills, well done. Intercepted again by Fyman. It's tough and it's hard in there. Well done to Osborne. Osborne gets it through. Cameron's got the run of it. Can he control it? Yes, he can. And splits the middle. But a chance now for Cook. Puts it up high. Jackson going the wrong way. It wasn't Jackson. Oh, should have been paid. No one can take the grab to ground. Central's first in all the time. Wakeland it was. Gets the handball forward. Cotton going to have a shot for goal. And that is a perfect shot. And guess what? Delray again.
It's end to end.
End to end. He'll go from 50. Have another shot at him. Inside. Beautifully done. Gave it away to Polkinghorn. Bangs it away and goals for South Adelaide. Cook drills it to Cotton, and that's a great grab. He's got Schwert. Schwert bombs it in. That could go through. Yes, it has. Great work by Conway.
And some pictures there from the first half here at Adelaide Oval. Joining us as a special guest today is Mr. Footy Punt himself, Graham Campbell. He's on the boundary line, and welcome, Graham. And it's been a good game in the first half. I was surprised Coffey was playing in the 2s, but Wakeland's proved that Stewart knows what he's doing. He's kicked 5.
Well, firstly, Rocky, I'm no longer Mr. Footy Punt. That's been dispensed with. They're getting by without a front man anymore, Footy Punt. And, you know, good luck to them. But, yeah, Wakeland, to my mind, Michael Wakeland has been the difference between the 2 teams, quite frankly. His 5 goals at full forward have been just something super. His marking, his long kicking for goal, particularly in the second quarter, has made the difference.
And the defensive action for Central District is really something to behold, isn't it? Their physical attack on the ball, the numbers around the play, and how they hold up the opposition when they've got the footy.
Rocky, I've got to say, the biggest different aspect of both teams are numbers at the ball. There's no question, every time there's a contest, there's 4 against 3, favouring Central, or 3 against 2, or 5 against 4. Hey, they're playing my song, Rocky, that, you know, that famous Channel 7 song. You shouldn't say that, I suppose, but it's in the background, what I love about football. It's putting me off a bit.
Well, I'll ask you later.
Central are so much better than South in being where the action is.
Good on you, Graham, and I'll ask you later what you really love about footy. And you'll always be Mr. Footy Punt to me. But let's go down to Prospect. We've got Stephen Trigg there, and Stephen, they're without Visca today. They've lost Kretschmer, Rouvray, Mansell. The Tigers fighting to stay in touch in 7th spot.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Neville. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to everybody. And of course, North Adelaide have lost Sean Tasker as well. I might get to the game in just a moment, but start by asking the man with me, DB Mackay, this afternoon, about what sort of a week he's had. DB made a couple of comments last week, and I wonder how many calls you got from the umpires, and I'll quote you from last week. There are 3 umpires out there and only 2 of them are nearly competent.
Yeah, you've got to put the boots in, don't you?
Well, how did you go? Did you get a few calls?
Well, I spoke with Des Foster during the week. The one I had the real problem with was the one where Waterhouse went on the boundary line. McMahon upended him, and it looked like the free kick was given to Waterhouse for being upended. But in actual fact, the umpires tell me it was for the ball not being handed back to the boundary umpire on the full or placed on the line. Now, there's no signal for that, so I had real trouble coming to grips with that, and I gave them a bit of a bagging for it, but like all good people, you've got to admit when you're wrong.
You told me that you got so many calls your ears were burning. Let's have a look at the scoreline here at half-time at Prospect Oval. And North Adelaide, David, in a commanding position. 1 goal from the Tigers is pretty ordinary.
They kicked 6 in the first quarter, and Glenelg could only manage 1. In fact, Glenelg only managed 2 points in the second quarter. And look at that, Carlton, Adelaide.
Let's have a look at the scoreline, shall we? And indeed the score kickers. And there haven't been too many of them from either side, but North Adelaide have pumped the ball in time and time again.
You'd expect that in the wet, wouldn't you? Without Tasker out there, they've resorted to Hollett at full forward. Now, he's done a fair job. What's he kicked? A couple?
He's kicked a couple of goals. He's got a menacing look about him. We might see a little bit of him in the highlights through the first half, the first 60 minutes here. Watch for Hollett at full forward. He's not kicked a goal, David, before today, and now he's got a couple, so he's done pretty well.
Squire off the half-forward flank. He's terrific when he gets the ball within 50 metres. Now, he crashes through. You won't see much of Glenelg in these highlights, by the way, because, frankly, they've been very disappointing.
The Mancini's been in the pocket and complimented pretty well. There was Hollett putting the attack on the player, and David Sanders many possessions from centre wing and played pretty well. David, I have to ask you about Glenelg. They just, with 1 goal to half-time, they don't look like it, do they?
Well, they've got no passion out there. I've already mentioned that. I think their structure's wrong. Their attack on the 50-50 ball, I haven't seen them for about 5 or 6 weeks. And to be blunt, they've disintegrated in that time. I look at their record. They've lost 7 of their last 8, and you can see now they've won, 5 of their first 7 games. They've lost 7 of their last 8. They really have disintegrated as a club. I haven't seen players going around patting each other on the back, encouraging each other. They really are dispirited.
Certainly some strange things have happened. Mansell being dropped to the reserves is a strange day for it. So we've got an interesting game, Neville Roberts, this afternoon, a game that North Adelaide are thumping them in. The last time we saw North play Glenelg was the holiday Monday, the Adelaide Cup holiday Monday. We saw plenty of activity that day where North Adelaide kicked 9 goals in the last term, and you'll remember it was the same day that a former well-renowned coach did a circling of the umpires in the centre of the ground as well.
And just a quick one, would you, either of you tip the Tigers from here?
You've got to be kidding, Rock.
No,
they really are dispirited, although we did see in the last 5 minutes they started to show something, but no chance today.
OK, we'll go back to you guys a little bit later in the show, and don't feel dispirited, David. Michael Ace got into the umpires last week, and Des Foster's here at this ground giving him a hard time. Let's update the other games being played in Adelaide today. The Eagles, 40-point lead over West Adelaide, and Tony Modry can't pick a winner at the moment, can he? And Sturt taking a hiding from Port Adelaide, as we'd probably all expect. Norwood, of course, are on the bye. They had a players' show last night, and Michael Ace looks worse for wear for that. Central are 9-6, they're 60. South Adelaide are 4-4-28, a 32-point advantage. And I'll hand you over to Michael Ace and Graham Campbell.
Thank you very much, Neville. Welcome to South Australian football live through South Australia and Northern Territory. The Bulldogs, a great second term after a very even first term. A kick 5. Porter's onto the ground. Jackson's been good out of defence. Beautiful run. Tim Powell got Porter supporting him. He'll go for a bounce. And it's not a good one. Backs up. Very indecisive. Goes short. And Steckel not able to grab it. Pyman will back up. Picks it up. Throws it to Potter. Potter quickly onto the boot. Heath can't control it. Now Cook. Beautiful handball to McGowan. He'll go long all by himself is Jim Wine. He's got players everywhere. He'll go over the top. No, he won't. Does it himself and misses. Well, he had players loose everywhere, Neville, and just picked the wrong option. Well, you make mistakes, Michael, and... oh, sorry. Okay. Yes, it's, you think a league player should be just a little bit better equipped than that in the skills department. For kicking, loose ball. Now Porter's on the ground. Now, I understand that Danny Del Rey is off the ground. He's done a driver. And now that information came from the South Adelaide Footy Club, who was Ken Sheldon instructed them to come and tell us this. And I think that's fantastic cooperation. We appreciate it from the South Adelaide Footy Club. Healy sends the Dogs into attack. And they've got the footy in the forward pocket. Jim Wine, he's doing well, isn't he? Short to McGowan is good. And a bit of control with the football.
So, and that's pretty good cooperation from the club to send a person up here to let us know, so that we're not making, you know, assertions about what's happened to Del Rey or whether he's been taken off.
That's the point. What we do as commentators would see a guy, we don't know the reason why he's not performing, so you would probably say, well, what's going? He's not doing this and he's not doing that. Well done, South.
To right it is, and a pop shot at goal is offline. So the Dogs now 9-8. And McGowan, you'd expect a little more of him in terms of shooting for goal.
Had plenty of the football to date.
He's not happy with himself either, is he? He's frustrated with his skills today, I think.
Well, normally stitch those up, but at the moment, the Dogs in full control of this outing. And South really just have to make more whenever they get hold of the footy. Heath, and they go wide to Badams, and once they do that, the Doggies just hold them up and gives the time to man up. Goes short, well picked up, Badams. Mills it was, straight down to Lade. Now he's going to move it on quickly, gets back, looks for Stokel, falls over as he kicks it, and not a bad effort, but still he just didn't give him enough time. He sat it on his head. Stokel made the lead, and now the Dogs look at him run out of defence. Scott Stevens, beautiful disposal, lures. Wakeland's on the lead, goes short. And that is too easy. Gets the handball to Jackson, just threw it out. Read it better, Grummett to Porter. Porter on the left just drills it straight to Conway. Arnold. Those two blokes, they look very much alike, Neville.
Yes, well, their mothers probably don't think so, but from up here, I couldn't agree with you more. That's Pyman with the footy as he goes down that eastern boundary line and finds Stephen Swert. Has played well today. Had a bit too much freedom, though. His kick in. Wakeland finds himself behind him. McGregor Grummett takes front position and the mark.
Grummett's first mark. I could be wrong there. It seems to me he hasn't had many overhead grabs. There's that Jamie Lamb again, arguably South's best player.
Now he goes back. And the kick, the power from Badams was very, very good indeed. The kick inside isn't good from Powell, though. He finds Cotton. The chip short, oh no. What a terrible turnover.
Just not good enough, that. You know, I've just been on the boundary line, as you know, fellas, and South have got the scoring in this quarter. It's a bit of a breeze-up, and they've got to do something right now, mount a sort of offensive action if they're going to have any chance of saving this game. But straight away, Michael Wakeland takes another uncontested mark.
He's kicked 5-3 in the second quarter. He was a star in that quarter, and he can't find the goals at this end. He kicked 2 points similarly to that in the first quarter.
Well, we also saw the departed Danny Del Rey missed from the same position.
That's right.
It may well be that the wind's a bit swirly and just throws it out of kilter. You know, it's so easy from up here, Rock, but not so easy at ground level.
That's too right. It's don't make too many mistakes up here. It's like the golf swing, the practice golf swing, is it? Never had a bad one. Porter keeps control of the footy for Badams. It did it pretty well. He's there again, Porter. He's very recognisable with his long hair, and there he is again. Always recognised for his courage. He's in fighting hard. Lucky, maybe, not to get caught holding the ball.
I thought the umpire might have pinned him, which would have been a disastrous reward for effort, because Porter put himself right in Simon Porter then, and certainly made the ball his objective, but could have got pinged for holding, yes.
The bounce down, Heath and Arnold.
No.
Held on. Mills. Bludner will take the kick. Cook just interfering then. They go long. Lade. One-handed. McGowan beautifully. Osborne intercepts. Not quite. Roy Laird. So that man again, Girdham. Look at the run. Swert and Herrera from the back lines. Not a good kick. Nearly Jackson. Porter caught by Wakeland. Jackson throws it out. And Osborne now with the ball on the left will go to Brent Harris. And punched very defensively by Swert.
They are playing like the top club, though.
No question about that. They really are giving South a lesson in play on football. But Simon Porter's made a difference. He's given a bit of verve to their half-back line, South Adelaide.
So, Lamb. Ball. No support. And that's a perfect example of half their problems. Jimmy Wine goes towards goal. Oh, what a terrible mistake. They've made a couple of them. They're paid dearly for this one.
That's just an incredible error. South Adelaide once again had the ball and just gave it up with no great...
Probably best player today,
yeah,
too.
Jamie Lamb is arguably the best player, no question about that. but he was tackled. I thought he was holding the ball, quite frankly. Gave it straight to Jimmy Wine, and Jimmy just put it past Jimmy Wine's first goal. Is that correct? I thought I saw him kick one earlier. He couldn't have, because I would have marked it down. So there's Central District's 10th goal for the afternoon.
Impeccable records that you keep here.
Jimmy Wine first. Well, impeccable records, yes. Number 4, Jim Wine, 1 goal only. Well, I would have put money on him having kicked one earlier, but obviously he just missed. That's a sign of a good player, though. If he misses, he just misses. You know what I mean, Rock? A bit like yourself. If you either kick them or just miss them.
10-9-69, plays 4-4-28. The Panthers in all sorts of strife. They're into attack now through Cameron. He's going to have a shot. And Windsor gets back, but it's not a good one. Rolls through it for or behind. He's a better kick than that, Michael. He is a better kick than that, Neville, yes. And they really do need to just...
Ray Windsor's in Central District's 5 best players, I reckon, the way he's played today, has not let a breath through him.
But Polkinghorn's come off the ground. He's holding his elbow. Let's hope that's not too serious. And Bromelo's replaced him. So some changes, a forced change, because Del Rey came off with a driver as well. And Polkinghorn now off with an elbow. So we're at Adelaide Oval, as I said, arguably one of the world's great stadiums. And we're live throughout South Australia and the Northern Territory. Welcome to the show. And we know that thousands of you tune in every week, and we love having you. Reimers gets it up quickly. They work it out beautifully, though. Windsor tears off the half-back line. In front is Lewis, the only place to be. Porter's got him, but just a little bit late on the scene. Wakeland's off. He won't go that way, though. Across the ground to Jimmy Wind, and he finds him. Jackson overran him, and I thought Wind might go on with it. He gives it back to Swirt, pops it up high, 1-on-1. Good work, McGregor Grummett, to get away from Wakeland. Cotton's caught with it, slips the ball out. Porter working hard, needs support. We've seen it so often. They haven't had it today. Oh, the kick is intelligent. Showed more vision than you expect him to have to give it to Powell. Michael Ace thinks there might have been a smidge of luck in that. Powell tries to run past Laird. Good luck with that decision. This is Osborne. Chip short. That's not bad footy, South Adelaide.
Oh, my God.
Except you've got to mark him, and you shouldn't throw it away. It's Osborne. Lucky to still have possession, South Adelaide. And some of the worst mistakes I think I've seen. Ken Shelton would be pulling what hair he's got out left out.
And I've got to admit, as I come off the ground, Ken Sheldon sits in the dugout down there. He coaches from the dugout, which isn't easy. You can't see the game properly from there.
Have a look
Here
at
we
the
go.
kick here.
Oh, I can't believe he dropped that, really. Just, had it been a custard pie, would have splashed right over his face, David Steckel. That's not David Steckel. That's not the guy who's kicked.
What'd you say?
Had it been a custard tart, would have splashed over his face.
Where'd that one come from?
Did it come? Oh, well, it's just so obvious. He should have marked the rotten thing.
Del Rey. There's him in the face. Oh, yeah, a bit high. Yeah. Del Rey dropped the ball in the same position, Michael, in the first quarter.
Could be the sun. Could be the sun. I don't know.
Well, Del Rey certainly put his hand up to shade what sun might have been there, and certainly didn't grab it. Trevina caught, and the umpire calls for a bounce. And Danny Del Rey in the dugout there with the coach, and Shane, ex-captain of the club.
Shane Butler.
Shane Butler.
Shane Butler's a selector, is he? I guess.
There.
Would have to be.
He was a special guest sitting in the box today. There's the bounce. One or the other. Boy, Laird, the defence has been fantastic for the Bulldogs. Wide is Swirt. The dog is really a class above South Adelaide at the moment.
It's just too easy for them. They're just doing it as they wish, quite frankly.
Swirt goes to the centre to Lewis. Lewis does it well. And a pack of players and another ball. All said and done, Graham, there have been some mistakes. Lamb, the far side, gives up the ball. Yep. Wine kicks a goal. On this side of the ground, they lose the footy again. I mean, there have been some terrible errors. Steckel drops an absolute sitter, albeit maybe the sun. They brought a lot of it on themselves.
Yeah, it's been almost giving up the ball once having done the hard work of winning it.
Too right. Osborne.
Too easy.
Orlick, was it? Now Osborne. Powell. Over the top. This should be a goal. Back to Powers, come down from the half-back flank, just takes it easy and drills it for the Panthers' first of this third term. They go to 5-5, 35, trailing 10-9-69.
And I reckon that might be their first goal for about 25 minutes of football. It really has been an ongoing battle for South Adelaide to score a goal, and it came about by a bit of good backup. And the handball across to Tim Powell at the finish, which he initiated in the first instance. He made certain of it, though, which I don't blame him. He ran right in, kicked the goal, and that gives South some heart, I would imagine. They're 5-5 and Central at 10-9. Virtually double their score.
We'll have a look at the goal kickers.
Wakeland 5, Jimmy Wind 1, Healy 1, Cotton and Swirt, and Cameron Downey, dual goal kicker for the South Adelaide team.
Heath from the left of screen. Schwert misses it. Heath goes back on it. Herrera gets the rebound. Potter has Healy in front, decides to kick. Lewis will use his body beautifully, but puts the footy down. Hands like bricks on that occasion. South Adelaide throw themselves in particular Jackson. They work it out.
This is
Cameron. Now we've got Powell. He's been a good player for South Adelaide. Has a bounce, can take another one. Has a look, steers it back inside. Try and give his forward some sort of opportunity. Who are absolutely swarmed. Laird goes to ground. He's caught with the footy. Oh, beautiful work by Pyman. Osborne couldn't kick it. Smother the small things. And Central District are showing the competition how to do some of the small things. Windsor just forces it forward. All the players know it's going to be there, so they run forward with it. Ball to ground, and inevitably you'll find it'll be a dog jumper at the bottom of the pack. And we might just have a look at some updates at Prospect.
North giving Glenelg a hell of a belting again by 55 points, if you don't mind. Eagles surprising, I suppose, 43 points up on West. And finally, Sport, not surprising, leading Sturt by 10 goals.
Stevens with the ball, goes wide. McGowan or Healy. Healy runs on. McGowan with the ball. Look at that, as easy as you like. That's a beautiful kick.
That shouldn't happen, you know.
Just sitting on the boundary line all by himself. Plays on to Reimers. McGowan doubling back on the left, but all the time in the wheel. Lewis.
I would have played that.
Grab. Tap forward. Badams to Bromelo sitting in the centre. Kicks. And
that's better.
Beautiful grab.
Well, he took the mark he should hold. In league football, if you're by yourself in front of your teammate, you've got to hold the mark. That's exactly what Ben Orlick did then. And that's all you ask for in football. Do the obvious.
Orlick goes short. Steckle, that's a good grab.
Now, Steckler's a prodigious kick of the ball. He's a chance from there. He kicks the ball a country mile.
He's got a kick from at least 50, 55 metres.
He's capable. It's only a matter of accuracy. I reckon the distance, no problem. And there's a slight breeze up, Michael, as I told you. Only going to ground level, you'll learn that.
So you'd back him?
I'd back him to get distance. Accuracy, I'd say yes.
Made hard work of that.
Yeah, once again. Give a bloke a rap, they always let you down. But
big ask.
It was a big ask, now you mention it, but there was a bruise behind him. And also, he is a great goal kicker over the years. He's proven that point.
He didn't look free with his follow-through, did he at all? And they might just have a few more injuries than they're letting on, South Adelaide, at the moment. Orlick steers one around, tries the impossible. Oh, an opportunity, and couldn't quite wrap it up. Reimers will run away with it. Isn't he a bit of an athlete for his size? He's got Stevens ahead of him. Well, he's a good athlete, but he might not be able to handle the footy too well. Stevens and Reimers need some help. Potter comes in to give them some help. They've got the numbers. They're in all sorts of strife, but they got out of it relatively easily. Lewis plays the front position. The crump Adams. Lewis gets it back, though. This is McGowan, just quickly into the forward line. Opportunity now for Porter as he takes the ball, and that's the way to do it. And then promptly kicks it out on the full and gives it back to the Dogs.
On his wrong foot, though, Rock. He's a left foot kick, isn't he, Porter? And forced under his non-kicking foot, and it just caused that mistake. Gee, he looks like Tarzan, doesn't he? Simon Porter, he really does. He's a different person who once got played at West Adelaide.
It's like the bloke that played alongside Bo Derek in Tarzan.
I can't believe it.
Herrera has got a player loose in the square, and Conway takes the easiest of chest marks, and they are a bit disorganised, the Panthers.
And that guy Conway, let's look through his first name. Mark Conway has been quietly efficient down there in the forward pocket. Now kicked something like 2 goals, is it? I know he's had a few shots, and that makes the deficit once again 11-9-75 to 5-5-35. That's 40 points the difference. And there's Herrera kicking the ball down, and Conway, easy as you like, brought the ball down on him. Therefore, Conway to stand his ground, which he did with some accomplishment, and popped it through, which is more important. And that's the job of a forward pocket ruckman. Mark Conway, 2 goals out of a total of 11. He's done his job. 16 minutes in. The Dogs fully in control here. So what would you do if you were Sheldon? You've got to do something. Spark them. Michael, what would you do?
What would I do? Well, he's just taken off Trevino, and Pockingham has just come onto the ground. I really think they're lacking some players. They haven't got the depth of the other clubs at the minute. Their on-ballers really do have to spark something. Cameron's dropped out of it after the first 5 or 10 minutes, kicking 2.
And the same side's won 5 of the last 7. you know, you just wonder where it goes in 1 week, that ability to win the ball. And as I said at half-time, and Neville prompted me, there's Ken Sheldon, of course, you've got to outnumber the opposition where the action is. If you aren't quite as skilled as they are, not doing that.
The thing that concerns me about South, when they get hold of the footy, they keep possession, but a lot of the times they're going backwards while keeping possession.
Okay, Cotton hands off to Schwert. Good smother by Porter, and you're right, Graham, he's had a bit of impact. Bromelo, half a throw, Polkinghorn, Lamb steadies, lost the footy earlier and cost South the goal, but to his defence, had nowhere to go. Cameron, Lamb, beautiful piece of work, gives it to Steckel. Back on this occasion to Scholl, who heads for goal, and offline, as he was for his first shot for goal and South's first point of the first quarter.
And every shot they have is a pressure shot. There's always somebody bearing down on them. Testimony to Central District, the way they keep pressure on the opposition, even though there's 6 guys in front.
Well, it's, I mean, the dog defence is just something else, Michael.
Well, absolutely, Neville, and I was going to say their determination was evident when big Mark Conway ran at least down to the wingman chasing his opponent.
Says something about a player who's prepared to do those
Well,
things.
it says something about the commitment of the player on the side.
It's a culture in the club, Graham, almost.
Well, it is these days. It could be argued in past years, Central haven't had all that commitment, but this side is almost complete in their approach to attacking the ball.
Schwert.
Made a difference, Jimmy Wine, to this club too, hasn't he?
Certainly has.
Oh, no talking. Lade and Porter. Porter had the ball. Didn't even have to be a contest. Just should have called him in. Cock. Back to Cook. Cook as easy you like. Round Mills back to Cook. McGowan, they're just throwing it around at the moment. McGowan on the left kicks with that foot quite often. Probably doesn't need to, but overrun was Nyland, but good enough to get back. Jackson round the body. All South Adelaide at the moment. Number 11 is Badams. Tim Power, beautiful hip and shoulder on Cook. Goes to Heath. And right over the back was Roy Laird.
You know, South rarely win a marking contest. They rarely take a mark overhead and hold up the play for that brief moment that takes the players to organise themselves down ground. It's always a struggle, a battle, an eternal, you know, conflict of trying to win the ball.
Nothing smooth, is it? And then when it hits the deck, they're inevitably second to the footy. I mean, we've seen Lewis outcrumb some of the South Adelaide small men.
They just get run over.
Osborne puts it forward. Stevens does well in his unaccustomed position, back pocket. His close look-alike in Laird gets it away. Hutton just threw it away, and he's been penalised for that.
I suppose we've got to ask the question, are Central this good? You know, maybe they are that much better.
Week after week, they keep doing it. We can see what Cotton does here.
It's Australia, no question.
Week after week, they keep doing it.
And people like myself say they've got to lower their guard sooner or later, but they're certainly not obliging, are they?
No. Wine with the footy.
Had a few kicks this quarter, Jimmy Wine.
Yes, he's got rid of some bandages too. They might have been slowing him down. A bit of extra weight. It might just be the budget. They might not be had any more tape. This is Badams.
That's what you've got to do. Get the falling ball.
Good crumb. Right position. In front. Good run. Cameron takes it off of Heath. And they look okay. If he can wrap up the mark, he can this time.
Well, he had to mark that, David Steck. I really had to. I mean, OK, we blamed the sun last time. The sun was out then. The sun was gone, I should say.
That's right.
There's a bit of cloud cover.
In shade now. Oh, they've lost it. Now, Windsor clears and...
too easy.
It was too easy, wasn't it? In range of goal, and all of a sudden the opposition are running the footy out. Half of Central District combined to run Laird, Windsor, Harada, Cotton, now McGowan. They do throw the footy around, and their possessions overall would be almost twice that of South Adelaide, I'd suggest. Wakefield. Trevina. And desperately for the defensive percentage, he goes out of bounds, and Trevina back on the turf. He did have a little rest. There he is, the skipper of South Adelaide. And he wouldn't be very happy with today's proceedings.
It's an amazing fact of life that South and West are fighting for fifth position, but neither are good enough to be fifth. So who gets fifth?
We might just cancel fifth. Forfeited. No qualifier this year, no elimination this year as Laird puts them back in. Oh, big jump from behind. That looked like Orling. Loose footy.
That's a bit better.
Good defensive work. Now they've got some numbers. And they run it out this time through the efforts of Nyland. He tries to chip short to Heath. Reimers has got him too high.
On that occasion, Heath got his hands to the ball, and it caused the conflict that gave him a free kick. That's what you've got to do on a case, just get in front and win the free kick.
Scholl looks for Harris, goes over his head. Beautiful tackle, and good decision. Umpire calls play on. Cameron, I don't know if that was to advantage, puts him under all sorts of trouble. There's another one.
That's where the advantage is wrong. They've got to bring the ball back and play the advantage again, because there was no advantage.
Healy, this guy has got talent.
He's got elongated arms also.
Oh, look, he's a smooth mover. Left foot. Lewis as easy as you like. Scholl 3 metres behind him. Lewis will take the kick. Wakeland just waiting. Can't get free. But Conway can. Oh, that's a lovely kick. Dropping back in the spot is Lade. So he's got to go long. The top of the square. Porter will have the jump. Wakeland in front, off the ground.
Hit the post.
Out of bounds.
You know, that was almost a Wakeland mark, the way the South Adelaide players approached it. Luckily, Porter came in for South Adelaide, and just made a last-minute contest because poor old McGregor Grummett was out of position. And I say poor old because basically 5 goals on him.
Chance now for Gowan. That was pretty close to a throw, I would have thought. Osborne. Jackson, see you later. Great tackle. That is a tackle that stuck, and that is how to tackle a player. Have a look at this. Whack.
What they call a perfect tackle. You can't do anything about it.
And who is it? Roger Girdham.
Roger Girdham, yeah. He plays by example.
Simplified.
He's the skipper of the club and been around for a long time and knows what it's all about. Action Jackson's arguing that free kick, but sadly it was there.
He's a competitor.
What can you say?
He has to go.
This is good. Let's ride it with him. The cameras will be right behind him. You have to make your own decisions on whether he kicks the goal or not. It's not a bad leg, and he's hit the post.
Well, that was a classic, wasn't it? We were right there with it, living the moment.
Yep. STM. Here we go, Michael. Tell us what's going on at the other ground.
Well, at Prospect Oval, North Bartik with the Bay. It's one would think gone. North by 57 points. And Eagles only by 16, so a big fight back by the Bloods.
It is a big fight back.
And Port Adelaide, well, 11 goals, 1 the difference.
Healy steals the footy, and again offline the Dogs. And one wonders what the score might be, any arithmetic. They're 11-11, so 22 shots to 11. They've had twice as much at the sticks. It's been very inaccurate.
Well, it has been, and you know, they only got themselves to blame. That's their one blemish in their football, I guess. They shoot from, well, not acute angles, but they shoot from positions that probably aren't going to score goals.
But as that great soccer players, Pele said when he's had 14 shots and kicked none, or kicked 1 out of 14, says you've got to be having them to miss.
Exactly.
And Central having plenty of them. Centre of the ground, Harada, part of that
invincible half-back line.
Thanks, Graham. I was looking for that word. And Reimers runs off it. He's part of that as well. Sends it in high. Oh, beautifully intercepted on that occasion by Brenton Lade. Stands at 196 centimetres. He's quite an athlete as well. Puts it up. Healy goes back into the back. No shortage of courage there. Badham's one of the best for South Adelaide. Lamb there with him. They combine well. A chance now for Osborne. Nice interception, McGowan. Look out! Roger! Gone!
That was ball. Sadly, that was a perfect tackle in there against Action Jackson. That was a free kick against Roger. I know he had no chance, but sadly, once you take possession, you've got a handball to kick it. He didn't either.
What could have actually happened is that
he could have been in hospital
just
around the
could
corner.
have kept going.
That's what I was going to say. He could have been
very similar to Tony Giles, David Holt from the Bay years ago.
I was coaching that day.
He's very lucky because he picked Trevina as probably one of the well, nicer, but he wouldn't look to do anyone any damage.
No.
And, he took the tackle instead, but you're quite right. He could have been visiting any one of the hospitals in the close proximity.
What you're trying to say is Mr. Nice Guy, Trevina.
He's a nice bloke. Reimers.
And what's the story? Nice guys finish second?
Oh, that's the cliche. Windsor short and a drop chest mark by Cotton. Didn't have much of it, Arnold, but enough to get it to Lewis. Harada follows up. The defence is running. Wait, and he's good. They're pretty tidy.
Oh, they are. And they lift their head, Central, coming down the ground. It makes a difference when you lift your head and try and find where people are. Instead of just getting the ball and kicking it aimlessly towards the forward area, they pinpoint, and Wakeman's had he's had a birthday today, quite frankly. 5 goals so far. This may be his first kick this quarter. Nonetheless, that's a big effort for a full forward.
set shot. He'd like to crack the hoodoo at the northern end of the ground, the cathedral end, and he does to kick his 6th goal. And the stand are absolutely ecstatic about it.
Yes, that's the first goal this quarter for Wakeland. Strangely enough, he did kick 2 in the first quarter, but he did have a bit of a problem finding the goals with the number of kicks that he had. And here's the Raider again coming downfield. Perfect pass by Franklin, lace out, and Wakeland marked on his chest. And then he completed the contract, as I call it, by kicking the goal.
So we'll just have a look at the final score in Melbourne. It's Optus Oval, Adelaide down again. 33 points this time to Carlton, and they were better performed today. Not that I've seen much of it, but they did give them a bit of a run. 12-11-83 here at Adelaide Oval. South of 5-6, and it might be a silly thing to say, but the game has been a lot closer than the scoreboard might suggest, but inopportune mistakes.
No finish to the game, South at all.
That's it. That's the description.
And with leading goal kicker Danny Del Rey off the ground, not without justification, I might add.
No, he actually went off with a hamstring.
Oh, he's
sorry, with a driver.
Oh,
and you were actually making your way back to the pavilion when we were told by South Adelaide camp that he'd been taken off with a driver.
Well, that probably, really suggests what happened in the first half wasn't really the real Danny Del Rey.
That's right. Played with it and plenty of courage there. Mills stays in front of the pack. Yes, Mills chipped in. Wakeland had it wrapped up. Mills' courage. And here they go wide again. They had Powell, Jackson or Badhams, but by going wide they just make it so much more difficult to get downfield quickly. Jackson's provided a run. One bounce goes long, but to absolutely no one whatsoever. And
Doesn't it make it wild when people mark by themselves in the back line? When the opposition kick the ball to them, it's just so easy.
Goes short to Potter, hands and knees, gets up, back to Wine. Going to be run down by Harris, looked a bit high. Beautiful evasive skills by McGowan. Just takes his time. A Raider runs through. And off the ground was Scholl. Always first to the ball are the Dogs. Cotton on this occasion looks like he's being hurled. Umpire in perfect position says he wasn't. There'll be another bounce.
It's got me beat that South can't be first to the ball. When it's an even one-on-one situation, they are always behind their opponent and just sort of labouring. It's so dispiriting for people that want South to do well.
Well, the name of the game is getting possession. And the three-quarter time siren goes. The Doggies, well, further in front, 12-11-83 to a disappointing Panther outfit, 5-6-36.
Very embarrassing for South, quite frankly. There's Ken Sheldon going out now. Heaven knows what he's going to say to his charges, because they've just lacked every element of football required to win a game. They can't get where the action is. They just seem to be backing up their opponents more times than not. Even when they take a mark, they're standing underneath them, watching the market, and by and large, they are in a no-win situation here at three-quarter time.
So the score again at three-quarter time, Central's 12-11-83, 47 points in front of South Adelaide, 5-6-36. All the action on ABC Sport.
Hi, I'm Lee Wicker. Stay tuned to the Footy Show. We'll be talking SANFL mergers.
Yes, Lee Wicker with plenty of interesting things to say. Stay with us throughout the afternoon. Welcome back to Prospect Oval. We've got a little bit of time left to run in the third term, but DB, North Adelaide have gone on with the job and done it very well.
Well, you've got to say that while Glenelg have kicked 3 goals this term to take their score to 4 goals, 4 goals 11. Look at that, 15 goals, 8.98 to North Adelaide, and a 63-point margin is about the standard.
Indeed, and Peter Bennett playing at centre-half forward. He's had a very mixed season so far, but 3 goals, has dominated half forward and done very well. Some interesting highlights. Again, they are dominated by the Roosters, and you can't help but be, David, disappointed with Glenelg. 7th position. They have to win to keep a play on the final 5, and they've played some insipid football.
Yes, they've played very weak football, but take nothing away from North Adelaide. They've played a brand of football, as you can see here, long-running football. Watch this. This is Gerke coming down with Phillips from a back pocket, the back pocket player and the centre, the fullback combined, and Phillips finishes off with the ball 30 metres out directly in front, kicks a goal, and then runs all the way back to the back pocket.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That was the play of the day, and the old bandy-legged Phillips did well to get down there, and well, he was puffed for a little while. This is Piker. He took the place of McCarthy, who went off the ground. Your point about North Adelaide playing a very nice brand of football is 100% true, but I want to go back to the point about Glenelg. They're not putting the physical pressure on, and for a side that was in the running, 3 games out, admittedly, and needing to win, it is very disappointing.
Well, look at the way that North Adelaide are using the ball, though. You know, when they're using the ball that well, now they've just kicked a couple of goals in the last 2 minutes while we've been talking, so they've extended that lead from 63 to 75 points. There's Rorick and Peter Bennett having a go at each other. Now, Glenelg need more of that sort of feeling. When you're down like this, you've just got to take it up to the opposition. They're getting walloped all over the ground, and a little bit of feeling like that from time to time, I don't think it hurts all that much at all.
Yeah, it's certainly been a very disappointing effort from Glenelg this afternoon, and as I say, they've not really made an impact, Neville Roberts, and the point that we said before the game about North Adelaide missing a full forward just doesn't seem to have mattered. They've got goals from all over the ground, and they have quite literally carved up a very disappointing Tiger outfit this afternoon.
Yes, disappointing, isn't it? Only three-quarter time, and you've already got that sort of result at Prospect. We'll be back to the boys a little bit later. Plenty of talks about mergers in the SANFL, in the AFL as well. Lee Wicker and David Mackay discussed it during the week.
Lee, at the seminar back in May, it was discussed that the SANFL would look at mergers. Now this week, suddenly there's some more urgency from the SANFL Commission for it.
David, from that seminar, the clubs gave the League Commission an endorsement to facilitate a merger, and that's been the next step. And we have developed a proposal that was agreed to by the Commission as early as this week, and the next stage now will be to present it to the league clubs.
Lee, why is the SANFL pushing for an 8-team competition at this time?
It's been a question, I guess, that's been up for discussion over the last few years since the successful merger of West Torrens and Woodville. There's no doubt that has been a role model, but even the AFL have looked at aspects of that in their recent discussions.
Well, I suppose money's the big issue. What incentives are you offering the clubs to merge?
I think there's a whole range of issues the clubs are looking at. Finance is very important, but player strength, their own development territories, both from a playing point of view and from a supporter point of view, the aspect of club facilities. Licensed clubs are having a greater impact and significance on club revenue now for footy clubs, that is. So those things have to be taken into account.
Well, how then are you going to rezone the recruiting boundaries?
The league's just formed a new boundaries commission that we hope that will work in time with a proposed merger. If we can achieve that in 1996, and again we're working towards Port Adelaide being in the AFL, the boundaries commission would be in a position hopefully to redefine the boundaries into 8 zones.
Well, we don't know what impact Port Adelaide and the AFL will have on the SANFL. Why are you pushing the issue of mergers now?
I guess to be ready for putting into place all the things that we need to underpin the local structure by 1996. If you don't start planning now, there'll be no time that would provide an orderly, I suppose, changeover of number of clubs and redefinition of boundaries.
Now, you wouldn't consider a crow side in the SANFL to make up maybe 10 teams?
The question of the reserves in the AFL is one that the Commission in Melbourne, the AFL Commission has indicated that reserves will be phased out in time in any event. And with the second AFL team coming into Adelaide, we think it's more appropriate, and all the clubs certainly think it's more appropriate, that we retain our interchange arrangement now with players going back to their clubs of origin.
Is it your intention to meet the full boards of the SANFL clubs to sell this proposal?
David, we think it's better to sit down with clubs at their board table, at their meetings, and discuss the matter with all their respective board members, rather than perhaps putting 50 or 60 people in one room, and that's the intention, to do that within a 2 or 3 week period.
Has there been any clubs put up their hand for this merger?
No, I think it's fair to say at the seminar the indication was that the clubs were unanimous in proceeding with developing a merger package, so that was encouraging in itself.
Lee, thanks for your time this afternoon.
SANFL Chief Executive Officer Lee Wicker. Who will merge?
Who will merge? A hard decision. I don't think anyone will, because they just don't want to lose their identity, and unless they come up with a few $1,000s.
The lures out might just be money. Mike Noonan talks to us later in the show on mergers as well. Let's just update what's going on in the other games in Adelaide, Michael.
Yes, at the moment, of course, South Adelaide, well, they're not doing too well here, but Eagles, that West Adelaide have come back and just trail by 22 points at the moment. And we all know that Port and Sturt was always going to be difficult for Sturt. but Port Adelaide 17-12 lead the Double Blues 8-5.
And Norwood off the bye, of course. Let's go back to the game. It's in commencement, the final quarter here at Adelaide Oval between Central and South Adelaide. I'll hand you back to Graham Campbell.
Yes, thank you, Neville. There's no change in the scores, folks. It's 12-11-83 Central, leading South Adelaide 5-6-36. The Central District going forward once again, and Michael Wakeland on the end of the lead. A Simon Lur's kick found him 35 metres out on an acute angle for him being a right foot kick, but he just may kick it the way he's confronted his shots for goal since quarter time. He goes back, lines it up, gives it plenty of air. Oh, it's a great kick for goal, and that is his 7th goal for the afternoon. Michael Wakeland kicked the first, third, fourth, fifth, 7th, 12th, now the 13th goal for Central. That is 7 in my in my assessment of adding up goals, and South Adelaide aren't happy because they were in attack about 30 seconds ago, but Central District, in the usual fashion they've been playing in today, swept the ball away with consummate ease, and Simon Lurs onto his full forward, Michael Wakeland, tells the story of the day, Neville. Wakeland's been just a supreme player at full forward.
Yes, it justifies the decision to deck Grant Coff into the twos. There's the scoreline, 36 plays, 89, and it would not be considered the ideal start by Ken Sheldon coming to this final quarter. A smidge of hope maybe to get back into the game, but that might have crushed them. Overrunning the ball, not Wind, he knocks it forward. A chance now for South Adelaide through Scholl. Cook slips a short one to McGowan. Looks for Wakeland, but McGregor Grummett. If the kick had been online, he might have been having another shot.
For his 8th goal, it would have been, but McGregor Grummett chipped in and took a timely mark.
Grummett goes forward, off the back was Trevina. Cameron provides the run, looking for Lade, brings it back. Oh, good grab.
That's as good as we've seen today from South Adelaide, overhead. Mark hasn't been their go. That's a great mark by Lade. Only Wakeland in the first quarter took a better grab than that in the journey of this match.
Not a good kick. Punched by Hereda. Powell was in front. Laird just jumps to the ground. And that is a bounce. At three-quarter time at Prospect, North Adelaide lead by 67 points. So the Glenelg Football Club is certainly struggling.
That's an embarrassing result there for Glenelg, fighting for their football life.
Arnold with the tap. Straight to Wine. He gets it beautifully out to Pyman. Overruns it. Polkinghorne throws it out. Oh. Steffel just throws it out. Had no one at all to give it to. 3 Bulldog players. Stevens wins it.
Yeah.
And Simon Porter.
At least Simon Porter didn't argue the toss there. Sometimes players do, you know, but it's an obvious free kick.
Central Districts looking for another percentage booster. Tim Cook. Straight down the ground, and judged to perfection was Conway. And he'll have another shot for
quietly efficient, Conway, quietly efficient. He takes the timely mark every now and again. That's all he's got to do, because Wakeland's been the key pin up there at full forward, and this guy's just chimed in at the right time, going for his 3rd goal.
Conway, left footer, looks good from here. Kick. The supporters like it. So the Bulldogs move on to 14-11-95 to South Adelaide 5-6. A disappointing 5-6-36.
Oh, once again, I said Glenelg should be embarrassed. So should South Adelaide. This is pitiful. Besides fighting for their very life, or if you like, spotting that 5 that they hold by 2 games over West Adelaide, that'll still probably stay the same because Westerns are getting beaten, but they're just not putting in today, South. And that was a nice goal by Conway, his 3rd, as I said. And Central move on to 14 goals, 11 if you don't mind. South 5-6.
59 points in the ball game at the moment. Not a healthy scoreboard for the Panthers, and Ken Sheldon. Jimmy Wine winds his way out of the centre, gives Potter an opportunity. Battams goes to ground, dives at the footy. An opportunity there. New on the ground is Craig Cotter. Handed up beautifully by Green. A chance now for Lures. Backwards, Wind, inside. Kick is ordinary though. McGregor Grummett, Osborne, Mills, back to McGregor Grummett, and Cameron goes backwards. So they used all their players, plenty of run, and I was sure the catch cry at three-quarter time was more work, more run, more contest. Tim Powell has to go alone. Look, outnumbered 3-1. Ultimately, you've got to end up with a real chance, don't you? Yep. Players on the pack. This time, Osborne. The kick is a bit ordinary. A chance now. Slips Harris into the open goal. How close is that? Bit to the left and 1 point under.
Deserved the goal. A good bit of football chicanery, I call that. He sold the dummy, came back, had a quite comfortable shot for goal, but just was off being by that half metre or so, but it's only a point, and that tells the story of South Sheppards today, quite frankly.
Potter played well right to Laird. Also had a good game across the half back. Backs up beautifully. McGowan, good hands. Cotton controlling it now. Back to McGowan. Goes long for Lewis, who was at the back. Kick wasn't good over the boundary line. And Jamie Lamb, well, apart from that one decision where he just didn't get rid of it in time, has been a fine performer for the Panthers.
Clearly South Adelaide's best player, I think. Clearly South Adelaide's best player, Jamie Lamb, on a half-back flank. And South have had too few good players today.
All around South Australia and the Northern Territory, we're broadcasting the live game here at Adelaide Oval. South Adelaide and the Panthers out of the pack comes another point. And the Dogs peppering away. I'd say that Central, on their performance, and you made the point before we started, Graham, that they didn't have a lot to play for, but it just shows you they have got a lot of discipline. You know, they can play whether there's an incentive in the game or not for them.
Yeah, they're hungry for success, Neville. It's painfully obvious that the years of non-success, we must call it that, have really steeled them to make a supreme effort this year, and I'll be very surprised they don't play off for the premiership.
Yes, and Alan Stewart has been the catalyst to it all, hasn't he? Put together a good team. He's taught them how to play, and they've certainly got a good culture about them. Tim Powell makes easy of that as he turns back towards the grandstand side. The kick won't make it on the full, but Scholes happy to let time take its part. Cameron's in a bit of strife. He won't be able to play on. Stop-start footy, to quote you, Graham, back through the centre of the ground. And Polkinghorn, no real advantage in any of that, as the Dogs plenty of time to get back and fill in the spaces. Back to Scholl. That's where he was just seconds ago, and we might come to the end of the game before the ball gets over the 50. Nowhere to, and another short pass. Could have easily have left the ball go. They've moved, I would say, what,
20 metres in 3 kicks.
Yeah, I reckon you'd be generous.
Yeah, it was about 7 times they touched the footy.
I want you to go down there and measure it. Kicking is good, and finally a little space opens up for them. And I reckon that's Orlick. Slips into the spot and takes the mark, but boy, that's hard work.
Well, it's just going around the mulberry bush, isn't it? Or ring-a-ring-a roses they used to play as kids. And finally I found somebody, so we should give him credit for that. But he's got to kick the goal now, simple as that.
He steers it towards the big sticks. I think the distance will beat him on this occasion, and through for 1 point. So South Adelaide only 5'8". They just haven't, without Del Rey there, they look a little bit insipid. Let's have a look at the updates over the border. The last night final scores. Great game last night, a draw. That had absolutely everything.
Yes.
Sydney over North Melbourne. Won't Barassi be happy about that? No, 29 points. And the Hawks over Fremantle by 44. The Dockers, they're in a vacuum at the moment. We know down by 33 points Adelaide. Haven't won there for 3 years. And Barmy just continues on over Fitzroy by 81. Wouldn't they be happy, boys? The Roy boys down to the Demons. A short pass into full forward. In front, Wakeland. Well done, McGregor Grummett. This is Jackson. He's played pretty well in defence. Argued a bit with the umpire, but he's pretty competitive. And Lamb, the second best player on the South Adelaide list, goes on quickly. Scholl gets it inside to Trevena. Away they go, Michael.
Trevena on the left. Pulls it back to the centre of the ground. To no one. They can't. They've got no movement up forward whatsoever. And the Bulldog defence rock solid. Coming out as Arnold to McGowan. All by himself, straight to Wakeland, as easy as you like. And Graham, when you look at the movement there,
there's no front of the pack support ever in a South Adelaide contest for the ball. Okay, the big fellow Lay gave the contest, but he had nobody in front of the pack to support him, and within 2 kicks, Central shooting for goal again.
Wakeland gets the ball, as we saw 2 or 3 minutes ago. It took 7 possessions to go 20 metres. It's a nightmare for the South Adelaide forward lines to even judge where the ball's going to go.
An absolute joke, really, the way the game has transpired. That Central can't be this good. But today they are that good, and South are making it look even better, and they are just absolutely playing into their hands by playing, as we called it before, stop-start football, ring-a-ring-a-rosy, and nobody really ever gets in after their falling ball. I can't believe the lack of initiative and intensity at that ball that falls in front of the back.
Been disappointing, hasn't it?
Yep.
The last of the Mohegans to bring the footy in.
It's more disappointing when you pick South to win.
Well, that's what you're dirty on. I thought these were emotional comments coming from the expert. You've lost dough on them. That's what's happened.
No, I haven't backed them. No. Just thought they could do better than this by about 8 goals.
McGowan Cotton is good. Open goal, and what's he done? Has he just spilt it over the line, or has he actually kicked the goal? No, he's going to go back and have a set shot.
Well, I would have thought the goal should stand. I think he played on and kicked it. Here he is, Cotton marking in front. Maybe he kneed it through, so it's not a goal in that case, is it? So he goes back for the kick. which is fair enough.
Won't have any problems with that as the Dogs just wrapping this game up, and not a lot of opposition coming from South Adelaide.
Since quarter time, get 1 goal for.
Well, there, that sums it up, does it? And so does that from Cotton. He's been a busy player today. It's his second goal. The first goal he kicked was in the second quarter on the run near the boundary line. It was a beauty as well.
Yeah. Yes, Jared Cotton's a bit of a find, quite frankly. He's a half-forward flanker with some accomplished ideas on football, obviously. He knows when to go and when to keep out, and his couple of goals are testimony to his efforts today. And actually, yes, the first one came off his knee, as I said. That's why he's given a second chance at goal, and of course he wrapped that up with no problems at all.
Yes, coming up, we'll talk to David Mackay and Stephen Tree just down the road at Prospect Oval, Northland Glenelg match. Back in the centre, and we'll also talk to Michael Noonan on mergers,
Why
and
not?
Lee Wicker, and the rest of the boys as well.
Why not? 11 minutes in, the Dogs, another percentage booster. And Graham, when you look at the board, top of the Premiership, Central, Norwood and Port, all on about 58, 59,
Central don't need percentage.
55%.
They don't need it because they've got half a game odds. Half a game I get them on top, or half a game I make them miss out. One or the other may play Norwood next week, which will be a real test of, I guess, strength. And if Central win that, they're home and hose.
In your opinion, if they finish top, they have a bye in the last
know.
round, and then if they win the first game...
Play 2 games in 4 weeks or something. It's not good. Not the ideal preparation, but what do? You've got to try and win.
Wakeland with the ball. Beautifully on to Cotter, has come onto the ground and harassed offline.
See, winning is the sort of thing you get used to, and so is losing. So if you drop a game just to not play in that, if you like, the top spot or finish in top spot, it may have repercussions where you get used to losing again. And I don't think Central would even entertain the idea of dropping a game, so they had a bit of football prior to the finals.
Pretty close last year, weren't they, though, Central?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
they went to that extra time with Port Adelaide, and I mean, that was a brawl. Well, I say a brawl, not in the literal sense of the word, but just in football terms, you know. It was just at each other, and it was hard and tough. And I reckon it really it stayed in Central mind, that game.
Broke their heart, too, because they deserved to win the match. Like, they were 15 points up, I think, with about 3 minutes to go, and Port had the know-how to get out of that one and make it a draw, and the following week they swamped them. Strong memories of that, I would say, and it keeps spurring them on for this season.
Often say the memories of the previous season, if you're a loser, often help you to win, and this man knows how to win. Stephen scored open goal, and the Dogs march on their way.
16, 14, 110 now, Central District, if you don't mind. That's his second goal for the afternoon. Stephen Schwert has been an absolute revelation from his wing. He is a fine player, and certainly a class act at this level. And once again, he just made a meal out of that one. He came forward.
He could still play AFL footy.
Oh, no question. I think he's very unlucky not being part of the pro setup. He did nothing wrong. He just got squeezed out by, I guess, opportunity. Not being given the opportunity to play as often as he'd like. And people might say age, but it's difficult to say. How old is he?
Well,
age is not the problem, surely. Not the one like Adelaide, 34 years of age.
Michael
rising.
Tate played in a premiership at 36.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not the play.
And we'll still be playing him out his way.
Well, the Crows' midfield, with respect, and their run and their delivery to the forward line has been nothing extraordinary.
Nothing to write home about.
And
no.
I would expect that Schwert could have easily been part of that, as Michael H will take up the commentary.
Well, we just saw Trevina make one of the rare tackles for the Panthers today, and if they'd done that about another 200 times, they might have been in this game. Very poor. Their attack on the ball, the attack on the opposition with the ball has been pretty poor. And if they want to go anywhere this year, they have to build that into their game. Heath takes the mark onto Polkinghorn, around the body, and the disposal was woeful. Potter goes for the die. The umpire will call for a bounce.
Wouldn't you pose the question, how does South win 5 of the last 7 with this sort of approach to their game? It's just not on.
Well, I think if you take you take Delray out of the equation. I mean, he has what's he kicked 60-odd goals.
5 a game.
5 a game. You know, at half-time, what do they try by at half-time? 30 points. I mean, if he's kicked another 3 goals, they're in touch, aren't they?
No question.
It makes so much of a difference, and we've seen that. I mean, we've seen all the good sides that are up there. They've all got big goal kickers, and I'm sure that's they're so thin on players. South, as number 32. Bromelo.
Right, here we go. SANFL scores. Eagles versus West Adelaide. Gee whiz, Eagles are making a real game. West Adelaide have come back from almost nowhere. They're only down by 8 points now. What a comeback by West Adelaide. Bob playing today.
Yes.
I wonder what part he played. He opened up the centre half back, incidentally, today, and it's interesting. Port Adelaide, 10 goals 3, leading by 63 over Sturt. That was to be expected. In fact, Sturt have narrowed the margin. They were 76 points down last time we gave it an advanced score in that match. And we also know that Glenelg are well down against North Adelaide.
And Michael Noonan talks later about his love of Sturt and how he wished they'd survive. And he refers specifically to the great Jack Odie, and it'd be a pity to lose all of the memorabilia and the influence that that great man had on the game. This is Cotton. He's got the footy only 30 metres from goal, and would you back him in with his kicking style?
Well, I would. He's handballed off, though, to Jimmy Jimmy Wine, I should say, but Jimmy won't have the chance to kick his second goal for the afternoon because the umpire rightly so has brought the ball back because he was lining the player up for his kick for goal, and you can't play on when the umpire has decided.
Kicked too, and you haven't told me whether you're going to bag him or not.
Yeah, I'd back him in. I'd back Jared Cott from here. Right. I just think that everything's going for Central now. They can fall over and kick a goal, quite frankly, at the moment.
In he comes. Unusual kicking style. He's just across the face of goal. Wakeland, what can he do? Something special, maybe. Has a look. The vision is good. Oh, beautifully done.
What a marvellous kick for a natural right footer.
And steady, cool.
Yep, calculating the whole thing.
It's a good thing about
Simon Lewis has given him a few today, so he ate him that one, I reckon.
Yes, he's. They are very unselfish, Michael. The Dogs
certainly are. When you're talking
throw
about
the footy
skill of Wakeland, he had half an hour to deliver that to Lewis, and that's been the problem.
Good players always look like they got plenty of time, though.
Lewis puts it through. No problems for the Bulldogs today.
That's his first goal. I can't believe that. He would have sworn that Lewis, in the effect he's had on play today, would have kicked a couple out of 17. But this is his first goal, and that's because he's been so, I guess, efficient in getting the ball onto his full forward. On this occasion, though, the full forward paid him back in kind, put the ball out in front, lace up. Lewis took the mark and kicked the major, and now Central stretch their lead to something like 78 points, if you don't mind. That's, oh boy, that's a lot. 13 goals, is it?
They've taken a pumpling in the end. What should have been a lot better game than this has turned into a very one-sided affair, and we've got Neil Craig not far from our commentary position here, looking at this game, obviously planning the beat clash next week. Number 5 is Brendan Lade. He sends the footy in. Windsor's got the punch on everybody. Stevens, will we see him playing in defence in the finals, Graham?
No, I don't think so. He's a natural wingman for mine. He's been a bit out of sorts in that position back there, and I like left-footers playing out of a back pocket. They are too easily put away from the game by an intelligent opponent. Force him onto his left foot, force him to kick away from the his natural, inclination to kick the ball to players upfield. He can be not as efficient as you'd like him to be.
Harada to Lewis is okay. He has plenty of time to juggle it on his left hand. Goes backwards to McGowan. Very hard on himself about his disposals. This one's a little bit better as he gives Cotton every opportunity. Seemed to have lost it in the sun and dropped his head. Now that's, whether we've got that again. It's a quality you've got to, it's a discipline, isn't it? To keep your eye on the ball and watch it hit your hands, into your hands.
No question.
McGowan again, slips it out. Cook, good early pace, slips it in to Wake.
He has had a big day, Wakeland. He's looked every bit a class act at full forward today. Just the way he leads and the way people put the ball out in front of him just makes him impossible to beat. I feel for McGregor Grummett because he's always there supporting him, it appears. But that's the way it is when people upfield pinpoint the ball as effectively as people such as the little bloke then Cook that found him. He kicked 7, only had 4 misses, 2 of those were in the first quarter. He's going for his 8th, obviously. He couldn't miss from there, could he?
Has no problem. And Graham, you'd have to say that at full forward, he looks a lot better player than I've seen him before, and maybe I've underestimated him.
Well, we haven't seen him at full forward that much, have we? It's been a top move by the coach to give him a chance there.
Well, he's played in defence quite a bit.
He's paid him back in kind by kicking 8 today, and you feel for a bloke like Grant Coffey languishing in the reserves, playing in the ruck actually at reserves level, because Adam Richardson plays full forward for the second team. And so, they've got mark time now and just wait their chance. Wakeland's got the spot, no question.
Bounce down. Conway in the ruck, doing battle with Heath. McGowan, always first to the ball. McGowan, Swert, Potter, Girdham. You can go through half the side. You can go through all the side.
They do the work, though. There's no mistake about it. You watch them when they run off of half-back. They do the work every time. So Harada and Windsor and all those players off of half-back, they'll all run down. They won't get the footy all the time, but it won't discourage them from doing it next time either.
Laird. Here they go again. As easy as like from defence. They're not even making a contest of it at the moment, South Adelaide. Green's come onto the ground. Peter Green. Jackson makes
his first run for the day, I think, Pete Green.
It is.
Came on at three-quarter time. Lures in front. Punch beautifully read by McGowan. As easy as like on the Cook. That
Great
is
hand
perfect handball. And Cook belts it through the centre to register number 19. They on a 19-14, 126-28, I should say, to 5-8.
Rate the handball for me, Graham. Superb.
The handball was 10 out of 10, or 100 out of 100. It was just something special. You go a long way to see a better hand pass than that. Lace up out in front of Tim Cook, who finished the contract with a great goal. And just watching the scoreboard, fellas, West Adelaide are now a point behind their protagonists, West Torrens Woodville. It's an amazing comeback by West Adelaide today. I wonder if Moddra's had any hand in the comeback.
Wonder if who has?
Modra?
Oh,
Modra.
yes.
Just said only a point behind
Yes,
by
yes,
the scoreboard
yes.
over there.
19-14 plays 5-8. It'd be good for Tony's confidence if he's been part of a big comeback and kicked a few goals. If you read Graham Corns' comments, he needs to have a bit of fun. Up go. Windsor comes from behind, but too strong. In front was Bromelo. Yeah, been on and off the bench today, Jason Bromelo.
The only way to have fun in football is to win. I can tell you that right now. You can't have much fun losing. Oh, George.
Oh, no, that's right. His manager said he's been playing in a team of 18 who have also been playing
Yeah,
poor.
I think that was off
Yeah,
beat, that
he's
comment.
an expert, that Greg Newmer, isn't he?
He would have seen about one game, would he?
Yeah, he's an expert. Bromelo in high. Orlick's there. Good work by Stevens. And there they are, just a pack of dogs. Just a pack of dogs, always outnumbering a Panther. Graham, when you look at the top five, really that fifth spot, they're only making up the numbers to date.
It's
apart
academic.
from West,
It's an academic argument. Whoever finishes fifth makes up the numbers.
who really are, though, inconsistent. They've got that much ability, particularly up forward. They
Yep.
can, on their day, do anything probably a little bit better than what South can. Stevens, did you want to be there? I think he did. Out of bounds anyway, that's what I mean. Oh, they're on their half-back line, the Dogs. It's getting pretty cool and dark here at Adelaide Oval. It's been a beautiful day for football. Carrying the footy is Osborne. The log handle, a chance for Orlick. He's got one to beat. Great tackle, Windsor. Ray Windsor, beautifully done.
That epitomises South Adelaide's fortunes today. They can't make anything work and continually run into trouble when they get the ball.
I can tell you by their tackling that the Dogs have taken some advice and some education, because when they tackle, their heads are in close to the body. Both arms are wrapped around the player.
Rugby style?
Absolutely rugby style. I wouldn't be surprised if they'd had a rugby consultant in their midst teaching them how to tackle. Lovely take, Pyman.
Good thought.
Pyman comes wide to Stevens all by himself. That's Stevens or Conway. Stevens to Schwert. Leaves it. Beautiful pickup from Healy. Talent, isn't he? Healy goes long. Sitting underneath it is Cotter. Green it was. As easy as you like. Just slightly nudged Jackson.
Yeah, Daniel Healy had a big day. How would you like the centre line of Daniel Healy, who has height and marking a build down one side of the ground? He got Schwert the other side of the ground.
McGowan in the middle.
A real fighter. And McGowan in the middle. I mean, it's a perfect centre line. It has a little bit of everything you require to win football games.
And their midfielders and utilities are pretty handy as well. Green. Shouldn't have any problems with the distance. A little with the accuracy.
Actually, I'm glad you never asked me. I've given up having a guess at what they'll do.
Well,
I'll just say he should score from there, but what is up? It's the lap of the gods. But that was, you know, not
Pretty
even
straightforward.
Not even a near miss.
You said it earlier. They've been. It's been a flaw in their game today.
Yep, shooting for goal.
Yeah.
That's the only flaw, though. That's not a bad flaw to have, because you can correct that perhaps a week later.
Well, if you have 34 shots, I guess, what have they got? 19, 15. They've kicked 19 out of 34. So about a...
One out of bounds.
Yeah, about a 65.75% conversion.
Yep.
Osborne. Beautiful shepherd by Steckel. Round the body, Powell. But look at this. He's got no one to kick it to. There's always a contest. Porter. Beautiful handball to Orlick.
Oh, you're joking. Well, that's just not good enough, really. It isn't good enough.
It's been the sorry story of the day for the Panthers.
And the central defenders chose not to take him on, so he had all the time in the world to kick a goal, and he still couldn't oblige. So that really just wraps it up. South are a very sorry plight today.
As Porter made the run, actually a little bit like Daniel Day-Lewis, doesn't he, in Last of Mohicans? That's the one. Beautiful take. And Pyman goes wide. It's a training run for Roy Laird. He's not even breaking a sweat at the moment. Beautifully done. Quickly from Cotter onto Reimers. They look pretty tidy, don't they? This is Green. He's at centre wing. He pumps it forward in the vicinity of Wakeland. Is it? He's found him too on the lead. He was a long way out of screen, I can tell you, when he sighted him. The kick was good. The lead was even better.
McGregor Grummett, really, you can't blame him because the kicking upfield has been magnificent. But perhaps it was worthy of trying somebody else there just to get McGregor away from the pressure of it all. Yeah. He's just getting sick and tired of supporting the man he's on. He's just rushing in and working hard on the mark. And Wakeland now lines up for his ninth. He's missed it, hit the post.
Well, it's not as if he's taken... I mean, he took one big overhead mark, so you don't really have to worry too much about the height on him.
No, absolutely.
You've got to have somebody with real early pace to go with him and a long reach.
And he just hasn't got that, McGregor. He's just one of those guys who likes to compete in the square. You know, a man that stands still, la Grenfell Dietrich. That'd be the perfect ploy for him.
And out of the other sort of eight clubs they've got to play, you'd get away with it.
Yep, but just this one, he needed a quicker person.
OK, the kick-in's poor. It finds Cotter. He's chipped short. But there'll be people running into space there. Jimmy Wind, short to Cook, and the small men cover the lines.
It's hard to sort of paint the picture, but the big fellas don't mark, and the little blokes do. Yeah, like, they're just caught out in every conceivable position. South Adelaide are losing.
They do keep the footy, though, don't they, Central? They'll kick it to a Guernsey every time. They don't risk it long very often unless they're very certain.
They hang on to it until they can find an option, and they do it so well. And you've got to say that this is... embarrassing with South Adelaide, though, for a game they simply had to win. They'll be 100 points down before much longer. That just is not good enough. There's a goal to the young bloke, Cook. It's his second for the afternoon. And now the
kids give the goal umpire a real hand, just in case he didn't know what it was.
That cracks the 20-goal barrier for Central District. A lot of clubs, that's the only interest they have in a game that's a whitewash. Can we kick 20 goals? Now the deal will be, can we win by 100 points? They're 3 points away from achieving that. There's the pass. And, well, Jimmy Wine now lays it off to young Cook, Timmy Cook, who stands there by himself for literally 5 minutes rock. Simply not good enough. Eagles versus the West. Eagles by 2 points. Hell, what a game. It really is an amazing comeback by West Adelaide. And Port Sturt, well, Port 69 points. It's a matter of how far the black and whites.
Yes, and here at Adelaide Oval, the margin is... how good's your arithmetic, Graham? It's about 90.
3 points of 100. Yes, 97.
Oh, dear, we've just got some help, haven't we? 97 points. I
just made the point. That's the one shining factor now for Central supporters. Can they win by 100 points?
Yes, indeed. And they're into time on. We're nearly 3 minutes into time on. And what's it, 20 goals at quarter time? So they've kicked 8 goals. There'd be at least 5 minutes of time on, I would think. We'll go close to 30. So maybe that'll happen.
Well, you've got to say, where does South go from here? Really, this is pitiful. They haven't scored a goal this quarter, and they've scored one since half-time.
It's been inept, hasn't it? I mean, it just shows you the fracture between the top 1, 2, and 3 sides to the 5 and down. It's a bit of an indictment, really.
I mean, South are clearly fifth. 2 games, I think, ahead of Westies before today's game. West Adelaide might get out of jail.
But they have played a lot better footy than this, Graham, too, South Adelaide.
Well, they must have, especially at Noarlunga, or Noarlunga.
Noarlunga, yes.
Noarlunga, yes.
New place down there. It's been there for a while, but the Oval has it. It's brand new, the Southern Community Centre.
Sorry, they won the half games ahead of Westies. That's what it was. So they're still on the 5, regardless of this inept performance. And there's a mark. Once again, Central doing as they wish. And they are going for that 100-point deficit now, or if you like, advantage. And the man in question, number 26 for Central District, is Damien Arnold. Played with some conviction in the ruck, won a few knockouts. Hasn't been their best player by a long chalk, though. Hasn't had to do a lot. He's now shooting for goal from 35 metres out on a slight angle to his right.
Yes, he'll wait for it to come back. He gets a bit of help, doesn't he, around the ground, because he's got Reimers in defence who can do a lot of the work down there. He's not without help when Ingerson's playing and Lewis is playing. So they actually split their ruck work up pretty well. He can stay on the ball most of the day.
Well, I think he does. He's virtually an on-ball ruckman for the entire 100 minutes, or however long it is we play these days.
That's right, not far off of that. Mostly all of that. This is Tim Powell, straight through, but leaves the footy behind. Laws back to McGowan, tries to control it. You can bet he'll hold it in, and he'll wait for the bounce.
So they never give up the intensity, Central. That's something you've got to admire about them. The side 100 points up, you would think, would say to themselves, well, that's a good day's work. We'll just sort of go along for the ride now, but they're still trying as hard as they were for the first bounce, and for that you've got to say well done.
Up they go. That's Heath. Cotter. Now Wine. Into the open goal. He has a couple, Jimmy, but he'll be offline this time. And as we make very pointedly their inability to convert on a high scale, 2018. So I guess that's just a bit over 50%.
Marginally ahead of goals against points, and one out of bounds to the full, don't forget, which makes another miss. There it is, folks. There's the final siren, ending South Adelaide's misery. The only factor in their favour. They never quite lost by 100 points. In fact, they lost by 99 points. 2018, 138, defeating South Adelaide, a pitiful 5-9-39, and I can't say enough about Central. They were just too good all over the ground all day, and they are a power-packed team.
They are, and taking into account what we said earlier, that they didn't have a lot to play for, but their discipline is good. South Adelaide, you've been a coach. Where to from here? What does Ken Shelton say to them in the rooms right now?
Well, the first thing you say is this week we've got to forget. I mean, you bring up all the bad points about the game now, but before next week's match, you bury the previous match with a famous quote of mine, Rocky, last week counts for nothing. You like that?
It does. That's right. 7 days is a long time in footy or politics. Tell me about Wakeland. You've got to leave him there. Stevens, you've got to bring back to a wing.
I think so.
Ingerson will probably play in the finals.
Then again, I have lauded the centre line of Central District.
Yep.
Daniel Healy, Rick McGowan in the middle, and Stephen Schwert.
Yep.
Stephen Schwert can play equally as well half-back flank, of course, if need be. Yep. So maybe there's not a spot there for Scott Stevens, even though he's been a bit of a star over the last couple of years. But by and large, there's no weaknesses in the lineup. They can do as they wish.
Okay, so the Dogs looking pretty good. Plenty of versatility. We've got Michael H on the boundary line with a special guest.
Thanks very much, Neville. And with me, Michael Wakeland. Michael, kicking 8 goals. You played most of your football in defence. Obviously enjoyed a bit of a run up forward.
Yeah, that's right. It was pretty easy today, though. The ball come in just where I wanted it. I just had to run out. Blokes like Cook and Squirt and Rick McGowan, you just run them, they put it wherever you want it.
Well, we're talking about the way the ball comes in forward and the inspiration, in particular, when you've got a guy like Roger Girdham and Potter doing the tackling and the hard stuff. It's pretty inspirational stuff.
Oh, that's right. They put their body on the line every time they go for the ball. They don't matter whether it's the last time they go for the ball or whether they get killed or not. They just love it.
One move that we found a little bit strange, Scott Stevens is a wingman and a goal-kicking wingman. Played it in the back pocket today. Was that something that the coach, Alan Stewart, decided to do for the team pattern?
Yeah, he's been down a bit on form, Scotty. He's ever since the state game, he's lost a bit of confidence, and Squirty was going to go into the wing, and we lost Scotty Lee to the Crows, so Scotty Stevens went back there.
And Mark Conway, 2 or 3 games. We don't know a lot about him. Where's he from?
He's from in country New South Wales. He's just come over this year, and he's really starting to come along. He's been rucking in the reserves, and now he's been sitting in the pocket and took a few nice marks today.
Well, sitting clear on top, a game and a half at the moment. You've got a big game next week against Nord. Last year you won out there for the first time in quite a few years. Coming off the bye, you have no problems. Nord come off the bye, so next week's a very important game again for Centrals.
Yeah, it's probably our biggest game for the year, I guess. They're really pumped up and they're really playing well. And coming off the bye, they'll be very fresh and very keen to go.
Well, well done today, and all the best for the rest of the season. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Well done, Michael H. And well done, Michael Wakeland. 9 goals, the star of the victory by the Dogs here by 99 points.